Hello fellow doodlers! My dad told me I should talk in my videos more often, so now y'all get to hear me pretend like I know what I'm talking about a lot more. Today's topic is talking about character development. I'm drawing the second most changed character of my story. It's been about a year now since I made all the portraits of the cursed characters, probably over a year if I'm being honest. I know I've improved since then, and the story has also progressed and changed a lot since then as well. So I wanted to redraw them all and either incorporate the story into it or draw an actual scene from the story. In this case, I just incorporate an element of Eric's role into this piece. I gotta say, I really like the change I made to his hair. Really like it. Which brings me to the evolution of Eric Brass. I actually have a picture of Eric's original design. Oh boy. Eric was a shy, introverted, sleep-deprived computer nerd in his original design. He was socially anxious and honestly didn't have that big of a role in the story. Fenton was the original leader of the group, and Eric was just like a sidekick or something. His backstory was probably the least tragic, too. If I remember correctly, he ran away from home. He was the son of a rich and well-renowned family, but ran away because of typical rich boy issues. Boring. Something I always figure out is how a character continues the story. How this character has value in being there. Eric did not. He probably had a few scenes where he actually did something, but other than that, he was basically Yui Shigami from Love is War. Right off the bat, I knew that wasn't going to work. The Eric that actually made it onto YouTube was the leader of the group, the father figure, the one who kept the order. Immediately has more value. I added more to his backstory as well. He was still the son of a rich family, but was given to the criminal group known as the Dragons when he was a teenager. Because he showed signs of a curse, his father handed Eric over to pay for his debts to the group. Eric was the Dragon Lord's right-hand man, whether he liked it or not. He didn't. He had good morals and didn't like seeing the crap his leader did. The ex-Dragon Lord was a terrible man, a tyrant in the modern age. So, with the help of Fenton, they overthrew him, and Eric took the role of the Dragon Lord. This might sound relatively good, but there was still a problem. In that version of the story, the dragons just accepted it. Which, in all honesty, would make sense if Eric beat their leader fair and square and just continued being a tyrant. But Eric also reformed the group and pulled out of the businesses that he disagreed with. A violent group like the Dragons probably wouldn't stand for some goody two-shoes forcing them to rescue children. That's exactly what they did, though. Again, back to what is this character's value? Eric really didn't have an impact at all. It was just, oh, he's the leader now? Okay, cool, I guess I'll just stop killing because he said so. No! Just like how a main villain can't suddenly change into a good guy, evil characters can't just suddenly turn good because someone used Tak no Jutsu on them. There has to be a reason they're actually listening to this guy. And this is where it gets good. This is where I actually get excited about Eric's character. I sat down, brain dumped on some paper, and figured out the story. Then, I figured out the role each character has in the story, and by doing this, I noticed that Eric did not have that big of a role. Eric evolved yet again. I kept his background as a rich kid. I made him younger, though, when his father gave him away. Since someone can't just become a right-hand man, I gave Eric some more time in the group as an underdog. He was forced to adapt to survive in a group that could kill him just because he looked at them too long. He developed insomnia because he feared being attacked in his sleep. Since the underdogs were in more danger, he worked his way up purely for survival, proving his abilities until the leader himself took him in. He excelled in marksmanship because of his ability to manipulate metal. Just because Eric proved himself doesn't mean he liked doing it. This is where he met Fenton for the first time, and he was able to quickly figure out that this man had no loyalty to the Dragon Lord. Just like in the past version, he made a deal with Fenton to help him overthrow their leader. Things flowed like the past, but now we get to how Eric ruled. He might still have his morals, but he's not some idiot who thinks just talking to people will make them listen. In this story, Eric is actually the second most powerful character. He hid his true abilities from his leaders and peers, so when he took control, he didn't hide that anymore. Eric has powerful metal manipulation. He made sure to grow. He can send bullets right back at his attacker, disassemble metal structure and form it into something else, melt a metal weapon right in someone's hands. Those that didn't actually see him take over, defeating the former Dragon Lord, called him a pacifist or weak, saying Fenton did all the work. Eric is quick to silence them and take control. Literally the only person who can show disrespect without getting slammed is Fenton, and that's just because it was part of the deal. This part of the story isn't really talked about since the story itself, like the actual plot of the story, takes place after this whole thing. Eric is still the father of the group, keeping everyone in line. He's still an insomniac, coffee addict, and a good leader. He plans to overthrow the Curse Watchers, police but for cursed people, by exposing them and their nonsense ideologies. He's been doing so for years, slowly building up distrust against the group, all while keeping his kind safe from them. This has been one of the hardest things for me to write, as I don't know how to do that. But it happened. His biggest role is as the leader and Ash's teacher. Ash never learned to use his abilities, and Eric is the one who shows him how to grow and control that power. So as you can see, Eric's role becomes more solid and important. If no one teaches Ash to control his power, the climax of the story can't even happen. He has more presence as well and is constant ruling over the group, not just the group that the story mainly revolves around, but also the dragons. His take-no-crap attitude makes more sense with his past, and his ability to handle dangerous situations among the group comes from his time watching the former Dragon Lord. He can handle Fenton's violent tendencies as well as Ash's mental problems, because he has experience in that. He also just becomes a lot cooler in my opinion. For a while there, he was actually more powerful than Ash. By the way, Ash is the most powerful character in the story. When you create characters, they need to have some importance. If not, they don't even need to exist. Side character or not, if you create a character, ask yourself what would happen if they didn't exist. Taking Eric as an example yet again here. If Eric didn't exist, the Curse Watchers would be all the more powerful. The Dragon Lord would still be ruling, and the kidnapping, smuggling, and destruction would be even worse. Asher would never learn to control his powers properly and would be out of control, probably hurting himself and others, which would cause even more mental problems than the kid already has. Holdo would probably be dead if I'm being completely honest with you. It would be a lot different. Whereas if Eric didn't exist before, nothing too much would change. Holdo would probably still be dead, but Asher would have learned from Fenton. The dragon group wasn't even too much of a threat in that version, and Fenton and Ash would have been able to handle themselves separate from the group. I hope you can understand what I'm getting at. If you truly must keep a character, like I did with Eric, I really liked him, then you need to change the story or their role to make them important. Or else, what's the point? They'll just be a drag on the story, boring your readers, if the story ever sees the light of day. Eric looks so good! I want to draw him some more. Do you have any characters that have changed from their original design? How'd they change? Also, is there anything you guys would like me to talk about in future videos? Your input is very valuable to the growth of this channel. Thanks for watching, like and leave a comment if you are so inclined, as it does actually help me out. See y'all next week, bye!